The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a complex intersection of immigration law, public safety, and media narratives. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia has sparked significant debate surrounding immigration policy, public safety, and the representation of individuals within media narratives. Abrego Garcia, originally from El Salvador, arrived in the United States at 16 with his parents. His subsequent arrest on suspicion of gang affiliation led to a series of legal proceedings that culminated in his deportation amidst a backdrop of political tension and media sensationalism. I argue that while the complexities of immigration law must be respected, it is equally critical to recognize the implications of allowing individuals with proven gang affiliations to remain within U.S. borders. Furthermore, it explores how media narratives can shape public perception and obscure essential facts regarding individual cases. At the heart of Abrego Garcia's case is the legal framework surrounding immigration enforcement and due process. Following his arrest in 2019 for suspected gang membership, specifically as a verified member of MS-13, Abrego Garcia was placed in removal proceedings under EQSC Section 1229A due to his unlawful status in the country. Immigration Judge Elizabeth Kessler ruled against him during his bond hearing, citing evidence that he posed a danger to society based on his gang affiliation. Critics argue that deportation proceedings lack sufficient due process protections for individuals like Abrego Garcia, framing them as victims caught in an unjust system. However, this perspective often overlooks critical aspects. First, illegal entry into the U.S. inherently subjects an individual to removal proceedings. Second, being a verified member of a violent gang substantiates concerns for public safety, while advocates for immigrants emphasize humanitarian considerations, arguing that individuals should not be punished for their parents' decisions or their past circumstances. This narrative fails to address the broader implications for community safety when known gang members are allowed to remain at large. The prioritization of public safety should not be sacrificed on the altar of compassion alone. Effective governance requires balancing these competing interests. Another critical dimension affecting public opinion regarding Abrego Garcia's situation is how mainstream media frames such stories. Headlines emphasizing Maryland man or Maryland father can create an emotional appeal that obscures vital context about an individual's legal status or history with law enforcement. This selective portrayal risks misleading audiences into viewing such cases through a purely sympathetic lens without acknowledging underlying issues related to criminal behavior. For instance, several news outlets have reported on Abrego Garcia's situation by focusing on personal anecdotes rather than comprehensive coverage about his confirmed ties to MS-13, a designation labeled as a terrorist organization by President Trump's administration. Such omissions can contribute to a distorted understanding among readers who may not be aware that they are responding emotionally rather than critically. Moreover, when media narratives fail to acknowledge the complexities inherent in cases involving illegal immigrants with documented criminal affiliations, they inadvertently promote misconceptions about immigration policy overall, specifically reinforcing harmful stereotypes about all immigrants being harmless victims, rather than addressing those who pose genuine threats. The current political climate has intensified discussions around immigration policy reform, amid rising concerns over crime rates associated with gangs like MS-13. While some advocate amnesty or pathways to citizenship for certain populations, including Dreamers, the necessity remains clear. We cannot ignore individuals who have demonstrated dangerous behavior within our borders. Policymakers must prioritize both humane treatment under immigration laws and stringent measures against those identified as threats through verified criminal conduct, especially when such conduct relates directly back to organized violence or gang activity affecting communities across America. A balanced approach requires acknowledging that lawful presence does not equate automatically with good character, thus necessitating greater scrutiny over whom we allow residency rights, based on both legal standing and conduct history. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia exemplifies ongoing tensions between immigration policy enforcement and concerns about civil liberties and human rights protections, in which valid arguments exist on both sides but often become entangled within broader political agendas or sensationalized media coverage, focused solely on evoking sympathy without contextually grounding discussions in reality. To move forward effectively as a nation grappling with these issues requires recognizing nuanced truths inherent within complex cases while advocating robust policies designed not only for compassion but also genuine concern toward maintaining societal safety standards, free from violent influences posed by criminal enterprises like MS-13. Ultimately, we must strive towards developing informed conversations centered around lawful processes, respecting individual rights while ensuring no community suffers from unchecked violence, stemming from poor policy decisions made out of fear rather than facts.